What if everything you believe about power suddenly changed? That's exactly what happened in the opening episode of Tyler Perry's Ruthless Season 6. After everything, Ruth has survived. She is no longer just trying to stay alive this time. She is making dangerous move that could destroy the Rakudushi cult from the inside. But with every step forward comes an even bigger risk. New alliances began to form. Old enemy become more dangerous, and one wrong decision could cost Ruth everything. In today's video, we are breaking down everything from season 6, episode 1 and 2, explaining the biggest moment, the ending, and what these shocking events could even for the rest of the season. Let's begin. Before we jump into the new season, let's quickly remember where the story left us. For several seasons, we have watched Ruth fight to survive inside the Rakudushi cult. She entered a world where every rule was controlled by powerful leaders, and questioning authorities could mean death. At first, Ruth's only goal was to escape, but as time passed, she realized escaping was not enough. She also wanted to protect the innocent people trapped inside the compound, especially the children and the women who had no choice but to obey the cult's leader. Throughout season 5, Ruth faced battle after battle. People she thought she could trust often had their own secret plans. Every conversation inside the compound became a test of loyalty. Even the smallest mistakes could expose someone's true intentions. Outside the compound, investigators continued searching for evidence that could finally bring the Rakudushi organization down. But the cult had survived for years because it was built on fear, silence, and complete obedience. Breaking through that system would never be easy. That brings us to season 6. The first episode immediately reminds viewers that the danger has never been greater. The atmosphere inside the compound feels intense from the very beginning. Everyone seems to sense that something big is about to happen. Fear spread quickly, and people began looking forward their leader for guidance. Ruth noticed these changes before almost everyone else. Instead of reacting with panic, she carefully studies the situation. One thing we have learned about Ruth over the year is that she does not make emotional decisions when lives are at stake. She watches, she listens, then she acts. This is one of the biggest reasons Ruth has survived for so long. She has learned that in a place like Rakudushi compound, patience can be more powerful than violence. As events continue unfolding, Ruth realizes that a terrible tragedy could happen if nobody steps in. Instead of openly challenging the leaders, she chooses a smart approach. She understands that directly opposing powerful figures would only make herself a target. So she began working quietly, using strength instead of force. That decision shows how much Ruth has changed since the first season. The fighting woman we meet years ago has become someone who understands the psychology of the people around her. She knows when to speak, when to stay silent, and how to influence others without making herself the center of attention. Meanwhile, outside the compound, other important storylines began developing. George is found in trouble condition. After everything he is being thought, his rescue bring hope, but it also raises new question. What information does he still have? Can he had exposed the cult, or has everything he is experienced changed him forever? George has always represented the outside world's connection to the Rakudushi compound. Every time he appears, the audience is reminded that justice is still possible, even if it seems far away. At the same time, the FBI continues investigating. Their mission sounds simple: collect evidence and stop the cult. But nothing is even simple when dealing with an organization built on secrecy. Witnesses are afraid to speak, information disappears quickly, and every breakthrough creates new complications. Back inside the compound, Ruth realizes that trust has become more valuable than ever. Every person she talks to could either become an ally or betray her. That's why every conversation carries hidden meaning. Nobody feels completely safe anymore. One of the most interesting parts of this opening episode is how Tyler Perry builds suspense without railing only on action. Something a quiet conversation can feel more dangerous than physical fight. because viewers know that one wrong sentence could completely change someone's future. As the episode continues, tension grows between different members of the compound. Some people remain completely loyal to existing leadership, while others quietly began questioning whether these can continue the way they always have. The growing division could become one of the biggest storylines of season 6. When fear started disappearing, people began asking questions, and once people start asking questions, those in power being losing control. Ruth understands this better than anyone. She knows she does not need to defeat everyone by force. Sometimes simply making people think for themselves is enough to weaken an entire system. By the end of episode 1, it's clear that the balance of power is slowly changing. Ruth has taken an important step forward, but Mary's success also make her more dangerous in the eye of those who want to protect the cult. And that's exactly what makes the rest of the season so exciting. Now let's move on to episode 2, where the tension becomes even more intense. After the shocking event of the first episode, everyone inside the Rakudushi compound realizes that things are changing. The atmosphere feels different, trust is disappearing, and every character seems to have a hidden agenda. Nobody knows who will stay loyal and who might betray the group. Ruth understands that she is walking on extremely dangerous ground. Every move she makes is being watched. One mistake could expose her plans and put her life in danger. But instead of backing down, she becomes even more careful. She starts thinking several steps ahead, proving once again why she has become one of the smartest characters in the series. One of the biggest themes in episode 2 is power. Throughout the episode, we see how different characters fight for control without always using violence. Sometimes a conversation, a warning, or even a simple look carries more power than weapon. Tyler Perry does a great job showing that psychological control is just as dangerous as physical force. Meanwhile, tension continued to grow inside the compound. Rumors began spreading, and people start questioning each other's loyalty. Fear has always been the strongest weapon used by Rakudushi leaders, but once fear began to weaken, the entire system became unstable. Another important storyline follows the people outside the compound. The investigation continues moving forward, but the authorities still face major challenges. Finding evidence is one thing, but proving everything that's happening inside the cult is much more difficult. Every witness is afraid, and every decision could place innocent lives at risk. Back inside this compound, Ruth realizes that surviving is not enough anymore. She has reached a point where every decision could change the future of everyone living there. She wants to protect innocent people, but she also knows that acting too quickly could destroy everything she worked toward. This internal struggle makes Ruth such a compelling character. She is constantly forced to choose between doing what's right and doing what's necessary. Those two things don't always lead to the same outcome. And episode 2 moves toward in climax. The pressure continued building, conversation became more intense, emotion began taking over, and several characters reveal that they are no longer willing to blindly accept everything they are told. This growing division could become the biggest threat the Rakudushi cult has ever faced. The ending of episode 2 is not just about one shocking movement, it's about the changing balance of power. For years, the Rakudushi organization has survived because everyone feared the leadership. But this opening episode shows that cracks are finally beginning to appear. Once people began questioning authority, maintaining complete control became much harder. Ruth represents that change. She is not trying to win through violence. Instead, she is using patience, intelligence, and careful planning. That's what makes her so dangerous to those in power. The ending also reminds us that the battle is far from over. Even though Ruth has made important progress, her biggest challenges are still ahead. Every new ally could become an enemy tomorrow, and every victory comes with a new risk. Outside the compound, the investigation continues moving forward. If enough evidence is collected, The authorities may finally have an opportunity to strike. But whether that happened before one innocent people suffer remain one of the season's biggest questions. One interesting detail is how the series continue focusing on manipulation instead of constant action. Every conversation feels important because characters are always testing one another. Another detail is Ruth's confidence. Compare her behavior now to the first season. She is no longer react only with fear. She carefully studies every situation before making a decision. That character development has become one of the strongest part of the show. The opening episode also reminds viewers that nobody is completely safe. Taylor Perry has built this series around unpredictability, and that's exactly why fans keep coming back every week. Looking ahead, episode 3 could become even more explosive. I expect Ruth to continue spreading her position while secretly looking for another opportunity to weaken the cult from within. The leadership may begin suspecting that someone is working against them, creating even more tension throughout the compound. Outside investigation will likely continue gathering evidence while searching for new witnesses who are finally willing to tell the truth. At the same time, several relationships inside the compound may completely change as characters choose side in the growing power struggle. If that happened, season 6 could become one of the most unpredictable seasons in the history of Ruthless. Overall, episode 1 and 2 deliver a strong start to the new season. Instead of relying only on shocking moments, they focus on character development, psychological tension, and the growing conflict that will shape everything coming next. What did you think about season 6 premiere? Which moment surprised you the most? And what are your predictions for episode 3? Let me know in the comment below. If you enjoyed this breakdown, don't forget to leave a like, subscribe to Screentime with Azhar, and turn on notification because we will be covering every new episode of Ruthless. Thanks for watching. I will see you in the next one.